morning, everybody. My name's Darlene, and I have Parkinson's. I want to talk to you today about chasing the yellow pill. The yellow pill is levodopa. So let's first of all explain what's happening in our brains when we have Parkinson's. Our brains are losing the dopamine that they need to function properly. So we can take artificial dopamine called levodopa. Now this levodopa helps us function the way we always did. The problem being is it doesn't work forever. So they call it chasing the yellow pill because you start off with a lower dose and then they start changing how many you're taking, how often you're taking it, because what happens is you have, it's called by many different names: still time, on time, off time, movement, non-movement, ups and downs. There's all different ways of saying it, but basically you're still or you're moving. Now, it's different a little bit for people with tremors. Someone like myself who doesn't have the tremors, I have dyskinesia, which I'm going to talk about in another video. But I started off and I could count on my levodopa working in a certain fashion. I started off taking 8 pills a day. I think I was taking them every 3 hours. I can't remember, but I think it was 8, 11, 2, 5, 8. I think that was it. Yeah, and then 10 o'clock was my overnight. So I had 3, 6, 9, 12, 14. No, that was 14. I'd already increased at that point. I don't know. I don't remember how I started taking them. I know I started with 8 a day. But then I could count on approximately in every 3-hour cycle. Once I was taking the levodopa, say every 3 hours, I could count on, I would have good time for the little bit in the middle. No, not really. I would start off, I would take the pill when I wasn't having good time. Then I would have to wait about a half an hour or 40 minutes for it to work. So that was still time or bad time. And then I had about a half an hour or 40 minutes that it worked. And then it stopped working and I had to wait for my next dose. So I was having approximately half of every 3 hours. So out of every 3 hours in my day, I was having half of it good time and half of it bad time. But that good time and bad time was on either side of my good time. And if you counted it up, that means half of your day is spent completely still in a chair. And that's for me when the pain happened, because when I went still in the chair, my legs, my ankles, everything froze up. My tendons would all stand up on end. You could see them standing on end. I have videos showing it where my feet just stood on end. And that was very, very painful. When I have movement, I don't feel as much pain, but it bothers other people because it can't sit still. So even when you're not feeling well and you're at a hospital, they can't take your blood pressure when you're having movement. So because the machines won't register it, they can't perform any surgical procedures like where they're going to do a spinal tap or something like that, because you have to be perfectly still. They can't even get a good picture on an MRI or a CT scan if you're moving all over the place. So the best way for you to have those tests on a scheduled basis and not have to be put out for something simple is to miss a dose of medicine. So if you miss a dose of medicine, then you're going to be calm while they're taking your blood pressure or while they're doing anything. Then you can take your medicine after they've done the test or taken your blood pressure or something, and then in another half an hour, 40 minutes, you'll start moving again. But you can count on it. It's an up, it's a down. After a little while of doing that, you start getting not as many good times, and you are sitting still for a longer period of time. So your good time is shortened, and then it suddenly, and when I say suddenly stops or suddenly starts, I mean it can be instantaneous. It is amazing to me. I can be jerking all over the place with my dyskinesia. I will feel a bit of a tingle, and all of a sudden I will be sitting perfectly still. And it's like, how is that possible? But that's what happens. But when I sit still, everything goes like rigor mortis, and it hurts. All your joints are hurting. Opposite of that, when I'm being still and I start to move, it's instantaneous. Like, I will get a feeling and I will know that I'm about to freeze or I'm about to move. When I'm about to move, it takes a little bit longer, but I will feel my feet starting to jerk or dance, and next thing I know, I'm moving. But you don't want the still time. Nobody wants the still time or the bad time, because it's really hard on you. It really is. Now, the movement time, I can accomplish a few things, or I could accomplish a few things when I was moving. And so therefore, I always felt good when I was moving. Now I have the complication of neuropathy and whatnot, which means that my hands don't work and my feet don't work. So therefore I don't work. So I do know that it's frustrating for people, but for me, it's easy to see how people have problems, because when you are having, the reason they say chasing the yellow pill is, I can remember saying to the doctor many, many times, I think I need a little bit more of the levodopa because it's not working as well. And she smiled and said, you're right. And she would change how I was getting my doses, or she'd up the dose. And then one day I went in and I said, I've got crazy movement, like this dyskinesia is crazy. And she said, that is from the pills. So therefore, there's a few things we could try, and I will go into them in another video, because I tried two different things. I tried a patch and I tried a tablet, and both were disasters for me. So I will talk about them in another thing, but what it boils down to for me is, I chased the yellow pill till I got to the maximum dose. Once I got to that maximum dose, I now have to back off, and backing off is hard. I find myself wanting a little bit more just so that I can have an easier time of it. And unfortunately, when you take that little bit more that you're not supposed to have, it doesn't make it have an easier time for you. It actually compounds the dyskinesia problem. I've made the joke many times. I did a TikTok about it one day, where if you want the best exercise or weight loss program in the world, join us for our Parkinson aerobics class, because when you're moving with your dyskinesia, you are really moving, and you're doing it and burning up calories like you wouldn't believe. So anybody that thinks it's easy to do that, they're wrong. It's not easy, because you really want to be calmer at that point. You want that happy medium, which we just don't get the happy mediums very often, and that's what we want. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to talk to today about. I just feel like so many people are misunderstood about it. I went to a dinner at the other apartment that we lived at, and it's all old people and whatnot, and there's people in there with Parkinson's, but everybody's a little bit different. Well, a lot of them stayed home and didn't come down for the dinner. It's once a month. And Bill wanted to go down, and I didn't think it was fair for him to have to go by himself. So I said to him, I said, once a month, I'll go down with you. But when I went down, I would be flailing my arms around and having trouble eating. And I wasn't even so bad back then, but I'd have some trouble eating, and I was embarrassed by that. But then all of a sudden, about 2 hours would go by, and they'd be coming to the point where there's music and dancing. And all of a sudden I would slow down, and I would just be all of a sudden still. And I could tell that people were looking at me going like, I wonder why she's moving one minute and still the next. Like, they couldn't understand that. They couldn't possibly understand unless they knew somebody that was going through it. And I just got tired of people staring at me. So we don't go to restaurants and eat anymore because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing because people stare. It's embarrassing because I now can't use utensils properly, which I should go through one day showing all the different things I have. But anyway, I'm going to stop here for now. I don't want to bombard people with a lot of things. So you'll see me rubbing my elbow right now. When I told you I had a fall the other day, I did hurt my arm. And nothing's broken. Nothing's even bruised. But I'm okay with the up and down movement. But when I try to bring my arm away from my body, from my side, it really hurts. So I'm trying to rest it and put Voltaren on it and leave it like that. So, and I've had a couple of nights where I haven't slept as well because of it. So I think that tonight's going to be an early night for me. I'm hoping it's going to be an early night for me. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. And I will chat with you all tomorrow. And we'll see what we're going to be up to then. All right. Bye-bye.